Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niran here and today it is time for episode number 10, now into double figures here, of our F1 2014 career mode here with Force India Season 3 of The Ultimate Driver. Having been in Formula C and Formula B on Grid Autosport, we now move into Formula 1, or we've already moved into Formula 1. As you can see, we are here at yet another wet Grand Prix. This time we're here in Germany at the Hockenheim ring. As you can see, 20% chance of rain, so it's only going to be wet for a short amount of time. It's only going to be it's only going to be raining for a short amount of time. So it will dry up eventually. As you can see there, the race strategy, that won't mean too much right now. Here you can see the teammate challenge as well. But before we get into what is looking like a very changeable race in terms of the conditions, it is now time for the qualifying report. Q1 would belong to the home favourite Nico Rosberg, but only by 0.02 from teammate Lewis Hamilton. Red Bull took a comfortable third and fourth behind the dominant Mercedes. Jules Bianchi yet again made it through to Q2 in a magnificent showing from the young Frenchman. In a very close Q2, Kevin Magnussen would be fastest in a session for the first time this season. Fernando Alonso took second with Nico Rosberg in third. Lewis Hamilton struggled to 7th only, whilst Kimi Raikkonen and last week's podium hero Nico Hulkenberg dropped out. In the shootout, and in what's becoming a regular theme, Lewis Hamilton would take pole by 0.6 from Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo. Fernando Alonso took a respectable third in front of Sebastian Vettel, whilst Nico Rosberg has work to do to impress home fans and take his second win in a row as he starts in 5th. So all of this means that Lewis Hamilton will be on pole here at the German Grand Prix in front of Daniel Ricciardo and Fernando Alonso. Sebastian Vettel took 4th in front of fellow countryman Nico Rosberg, with the Dane Kevin Magnussen in 6th. Massa took 7th in front of Bottas, Button and Yusufu in 10th.
That's it. Well done, Nico. Well done. Good job.
Yes! Come on, guys. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant.
So then here we are, 10th on the grid here at a very, very wet German Grand Prix. As you can see on pole yet again there is Lewis Hamilton, 10th on the grid there ourselves, 11th there Nico Hulkenberg. Can we take it to the Germans? They took a 1-2-3 last time out at our home, at our back garden in Britain. Will we be able to replicate it, take revenge against Hulkenberg, Rosberg and Vettel here at their home Grand Prix? As you can see, 5 lights now off and we are underway, struggling for traction, hugely swimming towards turn 1. Would literally be better in a boat right now. We've got an awful start. We've dropped 2 positions already there as Raikkonen and our teammate Hulkenberg go right around the outside of us. We get up the inside though of Bottas and Button, or between Button and Bottas, and now heading down towards turn 2 into 8th place. In front of us, 2 German flags there, Vettel and Rosberg. They've both got pretty hideous starts. We go right around the outside of the German in the Red Bull, there being Sebastian Vettel. Next up is Nico Rosberg, and in front of that is the other Williams of Felipe Massa, the Brazilian, and we are in 7th place. We made up 3 positions from an okay qualifying. We didn't have a huge amount of pace, which was a little bit worrying, although we did have quite a bit of pace in Q1 and Q2. That dropped heavily though into Q3 and down towards the hairpin. Now we come the AI very slow. We go up the inside there of Massa and up the inside of Rosberg and now into P5. As you can see, Kevin Magnussen with a fantastic start as well, the Dane in the McLaren, having been quickest in Q2. Absolutely awesome weekend for him so far, and he maintains his great pace there in P4. In front of him is Daniel Ricciardo. Alonso's there in 2nd, and Lewis Hamilton is winning in P1, of course. Obviously that's where you tend to be when you're winning, but yeah, we are taking a little bit of revenge, it has to be said, from the Germans. They're taking a top 3, and can we take it back to them here? Can we take a bit of revenge? As you can see now, moving on to lap 3, everything is looking pretty constant, nothing really changing there as we set a purple first sector time. Kevin Magnussen still a little bit up the road, but as you can see now, the track is starting to dry out. Will it be time for intermediates? And in a second you're about to hear a team radio.
Recommend you switch over to intermediates next time you pit. The current tyre you're running on is struggling for grip in these conditions.
Yep, so that's confirmation. Then we will be moving on to the intermediate tyres at the end of this lap. But as you can see, being quite late on in the lap, that we got that call from our crew chief, the top 4 are not actually coming in. So Magnussen, Ricciardo, Alonso and Lewis Hamilton staying out there as Hamilton actually sets the fastest lap of the race. So yeah, that's a little bit intriguing actually. So Hamilton there setting the fastest lap of the race here on these wet tyres Is it actually a little bit too early to be moving on to the intermediate tyres if Hamilton can still blast in some lap times like that? We've been told to come in, it's too late, we are already in, we're going to stick the intermediate tyres on, and we have actually been followed in by everyone behind us, so we're not really going against the grain in terms of covering off people behind. As you can see, Felipe Massa's actually, I think, leapfrogged Nico Rosberg as well behind us there. Rosberg clearly with an awful pit stop there for Mercedes, having to wait for a lot of people to come through, and Massa there jumping in front of him. We'll have to see then, can we get a decent undercut on the top four there, being Magnussen, Ricciardo, Alonso and Hamilton. As you can see though, we are skating about, and I am starting to wonder here. Look at the temperature there on the tyres, not too warm at all. Felipe Massa getting much better traction there as we now switch up into rich fuel mixture for this back straight. Felipe Massa going right round the outside of us here through this little kink there, getting very close there as well. I think we're going to dab off the accelerator and flick to the inside and then go up the inside, and we do, and back up the inside we go. But look at how cold the tyres are. This is a horrible, horrible decision. Massa getting back up the inside, but he has poor traction as well, and that's when you know. That's when you know you've made a poor decision. The AI having bad traction as well. We get back around the outside of him through this right-hand kink, and look at how cold those rear tyres are. This is an absolutely horrible decision. I cannot believe my crew chief is getting sacked in the morning. This is absolutely appalling. He can consider himself just completely and utterly sacked. And as you can see, Felipe Massa all over the back of us. And now moving on to lap 9, I can actually confirm the leaders have pitted and they are 9.4 seconds up the road. This little charade from my crew chief has lost me a whole 7 seconds to the leaders in one lap. As you can see, Rosberg and Massa now trying to make a move around the outside of us down into the hairpin, and still look at how cold the tyres are. Even the leaders have made a mistake. Now you could have stayed, I could have stayed out a good another 3 laps, but my crew chief decided to have a complete and utter moment. And now as we move on to lap 10, Nico Rosberg is the man all over the back of us as we go through this right hand corner. Massive amount of oversteer. We've gone into the gravel on the outside and we spun there. We've collected Rosberg. Don't know if he's spun. I don't think he has according to the mini-map there, but we have lost all sorts of time now. As you can see on the replay there, we just got a little bit wide there on this slow-mo into the gravel, and it's just sucked us in and spat us out sideways there. Come back across the track. We're lucky there not to be heavily collected. As you can see now, moving back onto the track off the grass. I don't know how he got even any sort of traction whatsoever. That is Valtteri Bottas there trying to sneak up the inside of us. We're down into 13th place. That is the extent of the damage. As you can see now, Danny Kvyat there in front of us in the Toro Rosso. And, well, Valtteri Bottas is a long way down the order, first off. So that point scoring finish for him last time out has just meant the square root of 0 to him, because he's still outside the points now. As you can see, though, we move back up the inside of Kvyat, and this is an absolute disaster. We've got a massive, massive job on now, even to just score some points. Get back into the points in this stint. As you can see, we've already got past Kvyat there, and Button is very slow on exit there through that left-hand corner. We go right around the outside of him as Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race. As you can see, they're down into the hairpin, getting very, very close to the back end of Kimi Raikkonen. He's a little bit wide there on exit out of the hairpin. We're going to just motor up the inside of him there with just a bit of superior acceleration. That's us back now up into the points paying positions, up into 10th place here on lap 14. It's taken us 4 laps to recover. We're not going to get anywhere near 5th place in this stint. As you can see now, moving on to lap 16, we've got back up the inside now of our teammate Nico Hülkenberg down into the hairpin. And that is actually Romain Grosjean in the Lotus, having an absolute incredible race. This is fantastic stuff from Romain Grosjean. He, though, is coming into the pit lane on the next lap, and he's actually being joined by the majority of the field. My teammate decides to stay out, but everyone else has come in, including guys like Massa, Rosberg, Vettel in front of us. Now, to me, it feels as if the track is drying out quite a lot, and in the next 3 laps, it'll certainly be dry conditions. As you can see, though, we're going up the inside there with a little bit of a slipstream, bit of a cheeky slipstream there on Rosberg as he comes out of the pit lane, and back up the inside of him we go, and now into 5th place. Now, this could be a net 5th place if we can make these intermediate tyres last until the track dries out. As you can see, Rosberg, though, still all over the back of us there with the assistance of the slipstream. Now down this back straight and through he goes. We'll have to try and get back through past him. Nico Hülkenberg back behind us as well. Maybe he will stay out as well. Not entirely sure, but back up the inside we go, down into the hairpin and through back into 5th place we go. And yeah, now moving on to lap 19. And Rosberg has unfortunately got back in front of us, but it is now definitely time for dry tyres. My crew chief, although I'm not really trusting him at the moment, he's getting sacked, so this is his last action for this race weekend, or for this season. He's getting sacked tomorrow. And we're coming in because the track feels pretty damn dry. Rosberg there coming in as well, so we're not going to gain anything on Nico Rosberg. Unfortunately, he managed to get past us during the lap. We made a bit of a mistake and he managed to sneak up the inside. And now moving on to the prime tyres, and we're going to go to the end. Basically, I've learnt my lesson from last time at Silverstone. We stuck on a set of option tyres and we ended up having to do another pit stop, and it just didn't work. We ended up losing a lot of time. As you can see, Sebastian Vettel, though, has managed to breeze past us down the back straight. He's actually on option tyres, and I can actually confirm that every single driver on that lap came in off intermediate tyres for a set of options. So I looked at the race director and I was pretty alarmed, to be honest with you, because no one had gone for the same strategy as me, which basically means, if you don't know by now, I'm wrong. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, because clearly I've made a terrible, terrible mistake. I told you I was going to check how long tyres lasted for, and I haven't, so that's possibly the reason why. We are still on these prime tyres. They're still holding out pretty well as we now move on to lap 26. So it's an optimistic strategy. We'll have to see how it pays off there. And we managed to go through past Sebastian Vettel there as he comes into the pit lane. But now moving on to lap 28 and down this back straight again. Of course, now the assistance of DRS as we are now in dry conditions. And Sebastian Vettel is going through past us, of course, with that natural pace advantage he has on the softer option compound. Compared to us on the prime compound, but we're going to just drift back up the inside there, almost a slow motion move there. Vettel leaving us a whole heap of space and time up the inside there, down into the hairpin. Now moving 2 laps later onto lap 30, a pretty much carbon copy manoeuvre here as Sebastian Vettel is looking to try and get through. We're still getting a message in our ear to come into the pit lane. We're obviously not going to do that, although we were meant to, even off these prime tyres. So yeah, I made a terrible decision basically, and the tyres will go off right at the end of the race, but through we go back again, past Sebastian Vettel there, no qualms, and yet again 2 laps later, every other lap it appears we're coming under huge amounts of threat from Sebastian Vettel, which pretty alarmingly means that on the final lap of the race we'll have mirrorful, we'll have an absolute mirrorful of Red Bull there, as through goes Sebastian Vettel, down the inside again though we go, a little bit deep into the hairpin this time though, and Vettel there looking for the undercut, looking for the switchback, and he's got the switchback this time. Sebastian Vettel there making it through as we go a little bit too deep into the hairpin, but we're still in the slipstream of him now, looking down into this left hand corner where Daniel Ricciardo made a move on Alonso in real life, and through we go up the inside there, a cheeky manoeuvre, somewhat of a dive bomb. Not a huge one, could have been a lot worse, but still Sebastian Vettel there all over the back of us, and now he's bearing down on us through this right hand corner where of course we went off earlier, and Vettel trying to go right round the outside, but we just show him the AstroTurf on the outside and managed to hold on pretty cleanly. Fantastic racing here between myself and Vettel, having to hold the German off here in front of the home crowd. And on some pretty dead tyres, as you could see there very briefly as we looked at the tyre wear map. But as you can see now, a bit of fuel management having to go down as we're on to -1 lap of fuel. Now back up onto optimal there as we went into lean briefly, but that second in lean has allowed Sebastian Vettel back through up into the hairpin. And he's going to try and get that switch back yet again there as we struggle for traction with this horrible amount of tyre wear we have got down into this right-hand king. What a race it has been so far. Recovering from that spin earlier on, it's going to have a fantastic climax as out of the hairpin we go. Vettel, they're coming up the inside, but we just about hold on around the outside. Look at how much we are twitching there. These tyres, it feels like we are on absolute ice at the moment. As through the last corner we come there, onto the grass there slightly, and I think just across the line we are just going to hold on. In fact, we do just there in front of Sebastian Vettel. Like, it was very, very, very close at the end, reminding me of my Williams Road to Recovery days, where pretty much every race we used to finish on completely and utterly brick red tyres there. The tyre wear absolutely appalling, made somewhat of a bad decision, but I don't think we would have really kept up with Vettel, even just based on option tyre pace. So I think we made the right decision in the end, even though we were struggling hugely at the end. Lewis Hamilton, though, taking it back to the Germans there with the win here in Germany, in Hockenheim, after a fantastic drive from all 3 Germans in the last race there. Alonso coming second in front of Ricciardo, Magnussen, Rosberg and myself there in 6th in front there of Sebastian Vettel right at the end. Here is how that result affects the Drivers' Championship there. Hamilton taking the lead of the championship back instantly from Rosberg now by 10 points there in front of Rosberg. Then Daniel Ricciardo in 3rd in front of Sebastian Vettel. We managed to take a few points there off the German there with that result. Only 2 as we find ourselves now in 5th. Fernando Alonso and Kimi Räikkönen there in 6th and 7th with Hulkenberg 8th, our teammate there in front of Button and Massa, with Kevin Magnussen there in 11th after a fantastic 4th place there for him. Here is how that incredible race there affects the Constructors' Championship. Lots of twists and turns, changeable conditions, fantastic battling there with Vettel at the end, and some and the recovery drive as well after that spin and collecting Rosberg there in the rain, going out wide on the intermediate tyres. My driver overall seems to be pretty happy. I'm relatively happy given the circumstances, although I would have liked to have been fighting for a podium ideally, but the fact that it was wet right at the start sort of meant that was never going to happen, unfortunately, with the lack of pace we unfortunately have in the wet and intermediate conditions. But as you can see on the screen, it is not over yet because it's that time of the year. We've got a contract offer here from Ferrari. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a straw poll link in the description below. Should I stay with Force India or should I go, and should I leave to join Ferrari for the Hungarian Grand Prix and beyond? Feel free to vote for that in the straw poll that I will leave in the description below. It will just literally say Force India or Ferrari. Make sure to vote to see where I will end up next episode, and I'll make it all dramatic and stuff with sound effects and dramatic music and the whole shebang. It'll all be there, and you'll get to see whether I will be being supported by the Tifosi or whether I will still be working for Vijay Mallya and Force India. But in the meantime, I hope you really enjoyed that fantastic race here in Germany. Probably the best race actually since Monaco. Indeed, really awesome changeable conditions, some fantastic battling and having to work our way back through the order after that massive spin and accident midway through the race. So I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave a like if you did. Comment about enjoying it if you enjoyed the video that much, as well as subscribing if you are new around here. Support recently has been absolutely fantastic, and growth as well. Don't worry, I will be doing a 2,000 subscriber video at some point. I just need to wait for my Elgato to arrive. I'll be ordering that yesterday when you're seeing this video, so that video will be coming up soon. But in the meantime, it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.